is going to step out on a precipice. And the scene in the script, it is written that this scene is when Christian walks out on the thing, an eagle flies by. And Nathan steps out on this precipice, and a golden eagle comes up from way down in the trees. It flies up and begins to just circle and fly around him and around the crew. It was absolutely electric.
It is time for the keynote interview, and joining Kevin Sorbo will be Natalie Jones and Nathan Todd Sims, a filmmaker, founder of Fusion Flix Entertainment, and producer of Parent Compass and the Miracle on the Precipice film. Todd has his own production company. It's called Fusion Flix Entertainment. He founded this with his wife, Gina, 30 years ago, and their children are also involved. Naomi, who is a producer, and Tiffany are both here. Todd has over 350 producing credits, a previous feature film, 11 TV series, and he's winner of 17 Telly Awards. Those are secular awards judged by the industry. His projects include a miniseries for the Discovery Channel called NASA Space Mistakes and the documentary The Harbinger Decoded, seen by millions. Todd is also an ordained minister, and importantly for us, Todd is producer of all 7 seasons of the Parent Compass family episodes, and now the feature film, Miracle on the Precipice.
And you may have heard we have a gentleman by the name of Kevin Sorbo here with us tonight. And you're going to be hearing from him. Kevin is an actor. He's a director and producer now for over 35 years. He's an author, a speaker, a family man, and also a powerful Christian voice in the film industry and the nation. He was born in Mound, Minnesota, and you may not know this, but Kevin is 100% Norwegian, and he's very proud of his Viking heritage. You may know that he is renowned for his role as Hercules in the 7-year series, Hercules, The Legendary Journeys from 1993 to 2000. Hercules, by the way, became the most watched television show in the world at that time, with impacting over 100 million viewers globally. Now transitioning into faith-based cinema, Kevin and his wife Sam, who, by the way, he met on the set of Hercules, have dedicated their careers to producing and starring in films that champion Christian values and family unity. And they have 3 children, Braeden, Shane, and Octavia.
Committed to instilling courage in the young man facing life-threatening trials, Kevin Sorbo plays the park ranger in the upcoming Parent Compass feature film, Nathan Todd Sims feature film, Miracle on the Precipice. Let's watch this video clip of Kevin in action.
Why couldn't you have done this 30 years ago? 20 years ago when I was still an honest man before I became a tin-horn huckster and a defiler of widowhood. Why can't you have done this in Oklahoma, where for the first time in my life, I believed every lie I told? Why'd you have to let me sink so low, Lord, and just dangle it right in front of my face? Let me be one or the other, a crook or a righteous geologist of all matters petroliferous who struck it rich. Do you think this is funny? Do ya? I know funny, Lord, and this is not funny!
Hey there, kiddo. How you holding up? pretty good, thanks to you. I guess I ruined your surf shirt, huh?
I never liked that one anyway. Why don't you just concentrate on getting better, okay?
Thank you.
You were amazing out there. You know, you were the one who kept me calm. You never let go. You are incredibly brave, Bethany.
Where were you, Daddy?
If you must know, I was having an argument with an angel.
Did he have wings?
No, he had grease-stained coveralls.
What?
Why, he's a mechanic. He had bad breath and a $9 haircut.
This angel, what did he say to you?
We both agree on Ben Walker, but I'm not your Ben Walker. See, more specifically, I'm not your husband and I'm not their father.
Is Daddy having a nervous breakdown?
You know, you're all very sweet in your own parallel universe. It's a wonderful life sort of way. And if I had to choose a family to be my make-believe family, it would be you.
We're a demigod and everything, that maybe you shouldn't have him at a Christian event. Is there hope for demigods?
Well, it was a mythological show, but I got to tell you something. The writers back then, they actually put very good moral values in Hercules. We had a lot of humor in it, but if you watch the show, there was a lot of good moral values. I think if they did it today, it probably wouldn't be quite the same.
That's right. So, you know, we're glad you flew in here on Eagle's Wings for us tonight, Kevin. And one of the things that I didn't know that much about you is you've had quite the wilderness journey. But start us off. Did you have growing up a family of faith?
Oh, big time. A typical Norwegian boy who grew up in a Lutheran church, St. John's Lutheran Church. I'm the fourth of 5 kids. There's 4 boys, my sister's in the middle. And I grew up in a little town about 30 miles west of Minneapolis. It's called Mound, Minnesota. It's on the shores of the western shores of Lake Minnetonka. My home was home to Tonka Toys. So there's your trivia question right there.
How fun.
And yeah, so it was church every Sunday, but my mom did a lot of Bible readings with all of us. And so it's always been in my, structure and all that. But I think the biggest influence for me when I was 13 years old, we had a youth pastor that came in, Pastor Lee, and we had a place called The Room at my church. So every Wednesday, year-round, from 8 to 10, it was 7th grade through 12th graders to go to The Room. And we had, what churches can afford, a beat-up couch, beat-up, beanbag chairs and stuff. We had a ping pong table and things. But it was also, he brought the Bible for me, and I'm sure with my other buddies in my class, he brought the Bible more into our world. Because our main pastor, Pastor Sanders, scared the hell out of me, which is good to get this hellscape out of you. And, but he was just so, breathing was a sin with this guy. So I remember as a child, I told my parents, I said, I just don't think God's that angry with us. I think he loves us, but he was scary. But Pastor Lee was huge. Another thing happened that summer when I was 13, the Reverend Billy Graham came to speak at the St. Paul Fairgrounds. And it was a hot August night. Yes, Minnesota gets very hot and humid in the summers. And there's a full moon. There was 250,000 people outside at the fairgrounds. And something I normally wouldn't have done. He called everybody, if you want, we've got a lot of volunteers, please come up if you want to talk, pray, whatever. And I started going up. One of my buddies, Jeff, goes, where are you going? I said, I don't know, I just got to go up there. And I'm sitting on the ground talking to this guy. He was like 35, so he was really old to me. And we were just talking. And all of a sudden a hand went on my head, and I turned around, and it was the Reverend Billy Graham. And his head was perfectly behind the full moon. So I was, this light coming out. So it was kind of like those paintings of Jesus always have the light around it. And we talked about sports, and we talked about school, and then he prayed for me, and that was huge. And I told that story in the Larry King Show. And Larry Ross, who's based out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, does a lot of publicity for the Franklin, for the Graham family, called me up and he said, they're doing a Chicken Soup for the Soul book for the Reverend. And it's the only time they ever did a hardcover book. And they asked me if I would tell my story. So I'm in there with Mother Teresa and the presidents, and I was a 13-year-old kid at that time when the story. It was years later, of course. And then they invited me to do the publicity on the book for them. So they traveled me around the country doing the publicity, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so you moved into the godly realm from But in your book, True Strength, you go from demigod to mere mortal.
Yeah.
How nearly dying saved your life.
Yes.
Seriously?
Yep.
Wow. I thought you were Hercules.
No. It was the end of season 5 on Hercules. I was all kinds of problems with my left arm, and I couldn't figure what was going on. I was doing most of my own stunts because my ego said that I could, and I enjoyed it. I was a jock playing football and basketball through high school and college and everything, so I wanted to do it. And my stunt guys made me look good, but I was always getting cuts and sprains and bruises. But this one is really weird. And I came back at the end of season 5 to do publicity on my first big budget movie called Kull the Conqueror. Kull was the prequel to Conan the Barbarian. In the books, Kull is the father of Conan. Arnold Schwarzenegger played Conan. He's older than me, but apparently I'm his father. So I look at that as must be Common Core math. I don't know. We'll ask Bill Gates about that. So I'm on Letterman, all these talk shows, and my arm was falling apart. It was lighting fire. They sent a doctor to my hotel room in Boston. His name was Dr. Dye. D-Y-E, I know, but change your bloody name, okay? Take your mother's maiden name. You're a doctor. And he said, I think it's cardiovascular. So I went to check it out. They found a lump way up here in my left subclavicle, and my doctor back in LA said, we got to check this out, maybe do a biopsy. Next morning, I go to see my chiropractor. Now, in 8 years, I've seen this chiropractor who's never cracked my neck. I don't like my neck cracked. Leave my neck alone. I'm laying on the table. He's working on it. I hear a voice inside my head said, don't let him crack your neck, which I thought was weird. He's never cracked. In 8 years, I don't like my neck cracked. Don't let him crack your neck. Louder. While I'm arguing the voice, he unwittingly did a thing that ultimately broke me. He cracked my neck. I suffered 3 strokes. I had an aneurysm that had been spitting blood clots on my left subclavicle down to my arm, suffocating the flow of blood into my hands and fingers, which were always cold and numb. But that crack, as doctors call retrograde flow, and because of the location of the aneurysm. And it took me 4 months to learn how to walk and balancing, and it took me 3 years to fully recover from it. And I had a lot of battles with God, I got to tell you, because it was the why me syndrome, you know. But my wife, we were 4 months away from our marriage at that time, and I was going to actually call off the wedding. I said, I don't know where I'm going to be. I don't want to be like, you're getting the worst part first before he even says for better or worse. And I don't want to put her on this situation. She stuck by my side. And one doctor, the head of neurology at USC Medical Center in Los Angeles, said to me, he goes, don't ever put your life on hold. And I say it all of you here because we do. We always kind of forget to do things, or we just bypass things, or we don't pay attention to our kids or our grandkids. Take a minute. You know, I learned a lot from that. I actually gained a lot of patience. But God, you know, I ultimately knew that I wrestle with God. Don't wrestle with God. You're going to lose. But I realized the voice was his, and he was trying to stop that from happening. But he opened a whole new door for me in the way I was looking at things, because I always had faith, but I never needed faith until I was hit with this. And I'm saying, I mean, I've always had it, but this is the first time I was ever put to the test. And I just remember that, okay? I felt like the old me had died, and now I had to find a new path and a new door to kind of go through. And that was really, I wrote the book. I didn't want to write the book. My wife made me write it. And she wrote a few chapters as well. She says they're the best chapters. They probably are. But I wrote it, and it came out about 13 years ago. And initially it came out just, all some people asked me to speak, but it's motivational speaking. I remember speaking to a group of 1,600 neurologists in San Diego, and I said, there's a reason what they call what you guys do a practice. Half of them laughed, the other half didn't. But then people read the book. Oh, he's a Christian. Will you come speak at our church? Oh, you're pro-life. So most of my speaking is really pro-life right now. That's what, yeah, pretty much I do, because we got to wake people up to the reality of what we're doing. I mean, that's crazy. You talk about roughly 65 million lives we snuffed out since Roe v. Wade, and it's murder. I don't care. There's a heartbeat in 22 days. Don't tell me it's not a life. And this my body, my choice thing drives me crazy. And I tell women, if it was your body, you'd be dead too. It's not your body. It's a body that you're hosting inside of you. But anyway, I get off on tangent with that. Sorry. But the book really, it's amazing what it's done, because it's really, I've had people come up to me after they read it and saying, I stopped feeling sorry for myself. Because my wife was really, I've had a lot of miracles happen, not only God, but the miracle is meeting my wife, Sam, because she was huge and instrumental in my growth. And every time I got down, she said, Kevin, it happened, what are you going to do about it? And I'm very strong-willed, and I needed that support, not only from her, but also from God and my family and friends. So it was huge for me to have that, because I don't know how I would have survived without her constant nagging and just overwhelmingly optimistic point of view in life. So it was huge for me, and I'm grateful for that book, because after people walk up to me and say, your book has made me just being more positive about things. Bad things happen. God never promised us, Jesus never promised us an easy life. Bad things happen to all of us. We all have stories. Everybody's got, the book is, when you hit a roadblock, how do you react to that roadblock? Are you going to blame God? You can blame the world, blame friends? Look in the mirror. I always say, cue the Michael Jackson song, Man in the Mirror. Because really, it starts with you and your attitude and what you're going to do. Because it's going to make you stronger if you don't be negative about it. Be positive about it. I was told to look at my strokes as a gift, which is hard to look at. But I had to find a way to accept it as a gift, because it's like kids. Kids are a gift, you know. I wanted to abort this aneurysm, but I couldn't. So, you know, it was a long road, but I'm grateful for it. And I'm glad the road that God has put me on now.
Yeah. Amazing work to that. Okay, switching gears here to Hollywood. You have said Hollywood likes to put out their own messages a lot of times, and the messages aren't the best for everyone. That's a very nice way to put that. But what do you mean there?
Well, you know, you see Hollywood's agenda. Every movie has an agenda. Every movie does. Every movie is a faith-based movie. If you believe in nothing, that's an incredibly strong faith. To believe in nothing. I feel sorry for people like that. I mean, I've got atheist friends, and I say, you know, if I'm wrong, I've lost nothing. But if I'm right, see you later. You know, I mean, so the way I look at it. But Hollywood's agenda has changed so much. It really kind of started happening in the '60s, where they started celebrating the anti-hero. They started, you know, it wasn't the hero anymore. It wasn't the John Wayne days and things like that. So, but that's when it sort of started. That's when they didn't have a rating system until the '60s. That was born because movies get more violent. But I got to a point I said, this is ridiculous what's going on right now in the movies that they're making, the movies they're doing. And I got called in about 12 years ago. I'm the first cancel culture victim before I knew it was a term. My manager's on one side of the hill, they're in Beverly Hills. My manager's in the studio, see my agent's in Beverly Hills. They never cross that mountain. If you know LA at all, they never cross that hill because it's always a pain in the butt. It's gonna take an hour to get over there with the traffic. They call me in, and they're both in the same office. And I said, what's going on? This is an intervention. They said, the studios don't want to work with you anymore. This is 12 years ago. And I said, well, why? Well, the things you post, you're Christian, you're conservative. And I said, but I always have been. So they go, yeah, but the winds are changing. So I said, oh, they don't want to hear the truth. Okay, I understand. They booted me out. So I had no choice. I love the industry. You love the industry. We love what we do. I don't care what side of the camera you're on within the industry of making movies and TV shows. Anybody that does this business, you can't say, well, I just kind of fell into it. No, you do it because you love it and you want to be part of it. And so I just, my wife and I, we formed Sorbo Studios. We've been doing our own thing. We've been blessed to raise money. I mean, it's not easy raising money on these movies, but we've been very lucky. Every time I've raised money for a movie that I'm directing, it's been a God thing. And it's other indies, like what Todd's doing, and other independent people come to me. So I'm very blessed. The last 12, 13 years, I do about 4 movies a year, and documentaries as well. I've been very lucky to be part of that. So we're grateful for another road. I mean, once again, the door shut, God opened another door. And it started with me, What If? What If is my first, you saw a little trailer for that, with a dinner table with my wife, and it's an alternate universe I end up in, and I realize I'm married with 2 kids. And What If is written by the same writers that did God's Not Dead. And What If came out 2 years earlier. Who saw God's Not Dead?
Yeah.
Pretty good movie. Thank you. That $2 million budget movie made $140 million. That doesn't happen. That is like the guy who invested in that, Troy Duhan, that was the first time I ever invested in a movie. I told Troy, I said, that was like the same baseball team getting 2 grand slams in 1 inning. Said it's very, very rare that a movie that's a low budget with very little advertising, it came from people like you giving it word of mouth. That's what really helped. And What If, in my book, much better movie. Much better movie. And it did okay. It was my first PureFlix movie as well. Dallas Jenkins directed it. You've heard of him. and he even says it's the best movie he's ever done.
So, you know, there's an onslaught out there on media for the family. what is the biggest battle and how do families combat it?
Biggest battle for families in what way? What do you mean?
In media.
Here's the thing. Hollywood, Andrew Breitbart was a friend. And he said politics runs downstream from culture. Maybe somebody said it before, but that's the first time I heard it. Who runs the culture? Hollywood does. Hollywood, the bubble of Hollywood and the bubble of the Democrats in Washington, D.C. have such a huge influence in the mainstream media over what's been going on. The public school system has been deteriorating. We took the Bible out of the schools in 1964. Everybody was homeschooled before the late 1800s. Our founding fathers were homeschooled, and they were brilliant guys. We're homeschool advocates. My wife travels the country. They homeschool all of our kids. I think one of the blessings of COVID is 2 million more families in America woke up when they saw how bad our education system is. There's always exceptions to the rules. I get it. But really, we were number one in the world through the 50s. And then we're 40th now. America, we're 40th in public education. We're number 40. We should be so proud. So we have to fight back. I mean, I'm glad to see a lot of people are leaving Netflix and places like that. They're waking up. They're finally waking up. But look, I did a movie called Let There Be Light that Sean Hannity funded. It's a wonderful movie. Did very well in theaters. Opened number 2 per screen average against Thor Ragnarok that opened that same weekend. A $300 million movie with a $100 million advertising budget against a $2.3 million movie with $1 million advertising budget by the grace of Dan Whitney. You know him as Larry the Cable Guy. He came in and he gave me $1 million to at least try to do some sort of way to get it in the theaters. And it stayed in theaters for 4 months. We opened number 2. I get a call from Netflix on Monday morning after opening weekend saying, this is in 2018, we want to open an inspirational division and have you run it. So I was excited. I go and had 4 meetings over 4 months with them. Ultimately, they did nothing. In my last meeting, I said, you guys called me in. There's 80 million homes that want the kind of movies that I'm doing. And you can scream socialism and you say all you want. You are a capitalist industry. Let's not kid ourselves. So if anything, why not appease those 80 million nuts that you want to call the people who believe in God and make good movies? I think they're waking up now. They're starting to tilting because they actually reached out to me about 6 months ago and asked me to send a couple scripts to them. We'll see what happens. But it's amazing to me that the country's going through what it's going through right now, that we got to fight. And parents need to be totally, be on top of what your kids are watching. The internet is the Wild West. And I'll tell you with this AI thing, it's only going to get worse because we're not going to be able to tell a difference between what's true and what's not. They can put anything out there right now.
Turning to Todd, tell me your heart and why you ended up doing Parent Compass.
Parent Compass, Natalie shows up at our office and because of a new mutual connection, and she says, hey, at the time, I want to do a show about families and parenting and all this kind of stuff. And Gina and I, we were like, we'll take this meeting, we'll see what happens, because we get approached a lot with a lot of different ideas. And when Natalie was there, she said, I want to do a show that really demonstrates God and biblical parenting and what the Bible structure of the family is all about. And Gina and I both were like, wait, what? Now, come on in, have a seat. Have a seat for a minute. Because that's what really touched our heart, was being able to communicate just these powerful testimonial stories. And that's how we developed the show. And to turn it into families sharing their faith. I mean, Gina and I, when we first got married, we both come out of broken homes, did not come out of good, strong family background at all. But both of us, I got radically saved in high school. Gina got saved right at the end of high school. And we were like, we're not going to have kids. That's just a bad deal. I'm like, we are like the worst possible parents on the planet. But we're listening to a tape series from Pat Robertson, actually. And he was saying, if the people who love God stop having children and raising godly children, the world is going to be vacated of believers. And I was like, okay, well, that's a little different perspective. And so that's when we actually decided, you know what, we're going to become parents. So we were already, we had a strong commitment to family and our own family, and really just looking to the Bible and seeking God about what it means to be a father and a mother. And certainly we've not done it perfectly. And that's what I love about all of our Parent Compass families have been so humble and true and transparent and vulnerable when we do these interviews. It's amazing. So anyway, but that's the main reason. So you came in, and I was impressive.
Yeah, I remember going there thinking, they do not want to talk to me. I was like, I just know it. And then I felt like it was a Holy Spirit meeting. One of the things we also talked about in that first meeting was the Lord had put on my heart just as strong as to do Parent Compass was to stop suicides, which I wouldn't say it that way, but that's how it was in prayer. And that really resonated with you as well.
Yeah, because...
So, and that we've put a lot of that in. The Lord has. We tried to put it in, but He brought the families that had the stories to put it in.
Because that was a big part of my testimony. Like I said, I was raised in a very broken home. And I was just a rebellious guy. And I won't go into everything I was doing. It wasn't good stuff. And I mean, even to occultic things that I was involved in. And then I got saved. I got radically saved. I mean, I met Jesus Christ, and He became real to me for the first time in my life. It transformed me in an instant, and I was a new person in Him. The problem is, thank you. Praise God. Praise God. The problem is, 9 months go by, and I am still living in a situation and trying to live and survive in the situation I was in. And I became suicidal myself. And I mean, not like attention-getting suicidal, but like true suicidal. I mean, I loaded a gun. I put the shotgun shells in my shotgun. I put the thing in my mouth. I put my hand on the trigger. Us tall guys, we can reach those triggers even on rifles, on shotguns. And I was that close to pulling the trigger, and God just broke into my life at that moment. It's one of the most clear moments of my life, and God spoke to me and said, you know what? If you decide to do this, come on home. He said, but if you stay, I'm going to use you. I have a plan for your life. And that radically changed everything for me. From that point forward, again, I was transformed. I was like, you know what? I'm never looking back. I'm never looking back. It doesn't matter. I just got to get out of the house, get out of high school, and move on. So now we've had wonderful families, some things, and a lot of them know. Like I'll get pretty emotional during those interviews, because I know what it's like. Yeah. So then, and then there. We were talking about the movie as well.
Yes.
I guess.
Well, I can wrap that into my next question.
Okay.
Which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
There were so many miracles. Yeah. With Miracle on the Precipice. Miracles before, miracles during, but miracles that led up to filming. But what miracle happened on the very last day of filming after 11-hour plus days, 6 days a week for a month, which is how you film. That's not including drive time and planning. Yeah. And something happened that last day. What happened?
Yeah, that was just amazing. There was, as we got into that film, and I wanted to make a love letter to the Lord about just what He'd done in my life. And we had a wonderful cast come together. And like Nathan Gamble's here tonight, who's our lead as well. And then Kevin came on board, which I was so blessed by. And so we were trudging it, man. I mean, we were outdoors. 85%, I think 85% of the film is outside. And so we were trying to do the schedule, deal with weather, all these things. When we shoot a film, when we shoot Parent Compass, we do about 10 hours a day, not counting travel and prep. But when we do a feature, we do about 12 hours a day, plus travel, plus prep. So we are just driving hard, 20 days in a row. And we get down to the last day. We go up to the highest mountain, the highest top of the highest peak to do the final day of shooting, the final scene. And Nathan, we walk out there, and Nathan's going to step out on a precipice. And the scene in the script it is written that this scene is when Christian walks out on the thing, an eagle flies by. And Nathan steps out on this precipice, and a golden eagle comes up from way down in the trees. It flies up and begins to just circle and fly around him and around the crew. It was absolutely electric. It was an amazing, we obviously we're just gonna use like stock footage or something for that shot, but we've actually got Nathan in the shot with it, all that stuff happening. So it was just one of those things where I felt like God was saying, hey, you've done good. We're with you. We're with you on it. It's amazing.
I love the part about that Todd had never seen an eagle in the wild before, and he'd been there that full month and hadn't even seen one then. And then it wasn't just any eagle, it was the second largest and a golden eagle, so it has more of the gold on the wings, but those have a 6 to 8 foot wingspan. And it was a vast mountain range. That bird, that eagle could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, the odds of that happening, I don't even know how we'd calculate. I've been all over the world. I experienced an eagle in Liberia, Africa that attacked our drone, but it was so far out in the bush I couldn't even see the eagle. The first time in my life, and you're right, not a single day, 20 days, not a single moment where we saw something like that. And then this thing comes up. It was God. Like, I know it was God. Even in the last 6 months, as we've been working on everything, finishing and just, now getting all this stuff, marketing, I'll remember that, and it encourages me to keep going on. So.
For sure, I love it. So, Kevin, you started a lot of movies, and so what
95, but who's counting?
But
there's a dozen that suck. I didn't know they were gonna suck, but.
You never co-starred, though, with Golden Eagle, so what do you think about this eagle flying in?
I missed that. That was so cool. I actually I got invited to do a fishing trip with ESPN up in Kodiak Island in Alaska. And the bald eagles are flying around like robins there. Yeah, you will just go crazy. It's unbelievable to watch them around. Unfortunately, Kodiak Island is correctly named. Saw 12 grizzlies in 3 days. I was a little nervous about that, but it was still pretty cool.
Yeah. Now you have to tell us, Todd, what are some of these wonderful things happening with the film?
Some very exciting things have happened. We've partnered with the Global Church Network. The Global Church Network has 700,000 churches in the network. 700,000 churches that represent 2,700 denominations and ministries worldwide. Their focus is fulfilling the Great Commission. So we were invited to screen the film in Athens, Greece, at a gathering of world leaders, church leaders from around the world. And like I said, these are cross denominations. And what happened at that screening was awesome. We got an incredible response to the film. We learned some things. It's always great to have a little pre-screening like that. We're making just a few tweaks to the film, but it was an amazing thing. And then out of that screening, we met Kathy Branzel, and Kathy Branzel is the president of the National Day of Prayer. So you guys know what the National Day of Prayer is, right? You've heard of it. It's been instituted since 1952 by the U.S. Congress as a day of prayer. And so the National Day of Prayer Task Force helps organize prayer meetings all over the country. And Kathy came to us, and she was moved to tears by the film. She loved your performance. I emailed you that. She loved Kevin's performance, and she said, I want to go out there. I want to promote this film. I want to do everything we can. And National Day of Prayer has a volunteer in every county in the United States of America. And and we are working with her to activate every one of those volunteers leading up to the release date. So This is an amazing miracle, an amazing favor that has been shown on the film and on what we're trying to do. So it's very exciting. So at this point, we're taking calls from distributors and we're starting to try to figure all of that out and come up with a final date, which of course I'm looking forward to letting everybody know the date and when we're going to release. We just don't have a date yet, but we're going to, and we're going to do it very soon.
And now we have testimonials from the Global Church Network, and followed immediately by the trailer to Miracle on the Precipice.
Miracle on the Precipice is a movie that I would recommend to not only families, but to all people. It is that good.
I'm Dr. Ben Starchuk from Seattle. I am a co-vocational minister. The movie was awesome, wholesome, like a movie that the whole family can watch.
My name is Linda Foster with the Global Church Network. Excellent. It was just fantastic. I was so impressed with that. It keeps you right on the edge of your seat.
My name is Becky Russell. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. The movie was amazing. Oh my goodness. Like my heart, I was crying. The family unit needs a movie like this. The family unit needs to see, like, don't wait until tragedy to bring yourselves together, to bring yourselves to the Lord.
My name is John Sweet. I'm with Haven of Hope International. Was absolutely delighted with the movie. It was a powerful family-oriented connection and the transformations that happened in the family as they went through all of the things that were happening in the movie.
Hi, my name is Andrew Binda. I serve with the Church of God World Missions, the field director for Asia Pacific. What a great movie it is. I really not only enjoyed it, but it had a great message. The script was good. The actors were phenomenal.
My name is Daniel Statisti. I am from Montenegro, and I'm their pastor. I was very impressed, very motivated. That was very amazing, and I think evangelist community for young generation.
I'm Corin Gamo Content. I'm from Cameroon. I'm a missionary with Campus Crusade for Christ. I'm a church planter. I'm a father of a son myself. I feel from that film all the encouragement that I need to motivate my son every day, to make him feel that he's loved, that he's known, that he's appreciated, that because the father was counting on that son, because that son knew that people are counting on him, he could have overcome his weakness. I like the film. That's why I wish you to watch the film also.
I'm David. I'm from Long Island, New York. In our lives, we're going to face so many challenges. It's going to take us many different ways. And this movie kind of takes you into a journey where there is the miracle that's coming. That's what I loved about the movie.
Great. If you get a chance to go see it, by all means, go see it.
This movie had me at the edge of my seat. It was great.
A powerful movie. It's filled with symbolism, and it's about family, and it's about miracle, as the title says. So 100% recommend it. The message that it sent was great. A message of hope, and certainly that despite everything we go through in this world, that there's a faithful God. And if we cry out to Him, the Lord will come to our rescue. So I recommend this film. Go watch it when it comes out on the big screen and enjoy. God bless you.
To take this opportunity to share some thoughts regarding the Miracle on the Precipice. It's an epic, an exceptional picture in creativity and in communication. All of us from time to time in life will come to a precipice. Could be a personal precipice, professional, financial, material. Some precipices come our way that we didn't cause. They come to us, and we need divine intervention. We need a way to see it through to the other side, and we need a divine miracle from God. And that's what Miracle on the Precipice is all about. And as a Global Church Network, we're thrilled to partner with Nathan Sims and his entire team in this beautiful release to communicate to the God's community as well as the world at large that when you come to the point of despair, God meets you at that point of despair. I celebrate the release of Miracle on the Precipice, and I encourage you to be a part of this epic release throughout the United States and around the world. May God richly bless you today.
Some paths should never be walked alone.
You're okay.
Some paths are just the beginning.
What's your name, son?
Christian.
Don't touch me!
Grace, we have hikers coming back late all the time.
We've been touched.
The time for being afraid is over.
Oh Lord, get my family back together.
Charity! What are you doing here?
So I guess you're not here to rescue me, huh?
We still have time to hike this trail, okay? Everybody in? Ready? Break!
What do you see as God's greater purpose for you and I and all of us?
I think involvement in the industry, because Hollywood's winning the battle with their secular movies. I think the biggest killer, not only politically in America, but also spiritually, is apathy. People just give up. And churches don't work together. There's too many churches that won't work with other churches. I keep saying, excuse me, is there a different God out there that I'm unaware of? There's one God, you know? He said, let there be light. So we gotta fight the darkness of the evil that's coming out of Hollywood and not be afraid. It's in Proverbs, the only thing to fear is God himself. So, you know, we need people to wake up and not let fear control your lives, people. We need people willing to stand up and willing to be canceled. They took 4 million followers away from me on Facebook 4 years ago for speaking the truth. I'm very sarcastic on X, so you can follow me on X. At least I'm up to 2.5 million followers there at least, but it took me a long time to get back on Facebook. I just got back on there after 4 years. I'm starting from scratch. Where's my 4 million followers? You know, but this is the craziness we have, that one side gets to control so much of the narrative out there right now, and cancel you for having faith, cancel you for having a different opinion than them. Charlie Kirk was a dear friend. I'm still very angry what happened. I've known Charlie the last 10 years of his life. It still doesn't seem real to me. But what came out is that 80,000 new chapters of schools across this country want to continue Turning Point USA. So Charlie is still alive, well alive.
That's right. That's right. It's strong. Why do you think the work of Parent Compass is important for fighting for children and families today?
Because you're showing true stories. You're showing true stories of miracles. I think miracles happen every day, and people just forget about it. It doesn't have to be walking on water, folks. Just be, you know, I got atheist friends, and I say, you know what? I know you don't want to pray, but do something called the grateful prayer. And they go, what's that? The grateful prayer is you're stuck in traffic in LA. Be grateful you got a car. Be grateful you got a pillow. Be grateful the sun came out. Be grateful you got a place to live. We're so caught up in the quickness of the world and the spontaneity of it all. We just have our attention spans have just gone downhill. And we just need to really go back and thank God. Talk to God like we're talking now. You don't have to put these and thous in there. You know, just talk to the guy. Talk to Jesus. They'll listen to your prayers. It's not always going to be yes. You know, God, give me the lottery numbers, God, please. You know, it doesn't work that way. But we need to, what you guys are doing is awesome, because you're going to real families and showing real things, and people need to support what you're doing. You need to support the things that you're doing, and hopefully support the things I'm doing. We need people to financially support, otherwise Hollywood will win this battle. They will. And they're waking up, but they just don't seem to care. So what you're doing here is awesome. And you just need people to keep going and keep showing true families going through true things in life and how they battle through the roadblocks that life gives to all of us.
Quick last comment.
We're in a battle. There is an enemy, and the enemy is using everything in his power to sway everything in the world. And art and entertainment and cultural aspects, or what, when you were talking about the cultural aspects, I'm like, that's why we're partly in the situation that we're in now, is because Hollywood went all guns blazing starting back in the 60s and 70s and 80s and began, influencing how we feel. So not just about the movie, but about Parent Compass as well. Such a critical thing that is happening right here in this room with all of you. And God continues to increase and to bless and to reach people with the power of this medium. So, we're going to get the word out when the movie starts to come out, but we're excited about finishing season 7 as well, because we've already done some on it, but we've got more to do on it. And so, and again, Kevin, thank you so much for everything you brought to the film. It's an amazing stuff. So, yes, and Nathan Gamble as well. Thank you.
Do you have a last comment for us, Kevin?
It really just comes down to the support of what we're all doing. It really comes down to that. If you guys want to change the world, you got to help us change the world. We're able to reach millions and millions of people with these movies, but we can't reach them without the support of you people letting other people know that it exists, that it's out there. You do exactly the opposite what Hollywood has done. If you look at sitcoms, every sitcom, you go back 70s up till now, what do? The mom's a babe, the dad's kind of fat and out of shape, and the teenage kids use dad as a pincushion. They on purpose are denigrating father. They're on purpose saying you don't need families, you don't need that kind of, all that kind of. They do it, and it's on purpose. They're trying to destroy us. It's satanic what they're doing. And the devil's doing a darn good job of pretending he doesn't exist. But he's out there and he's laughing the whole way right now. And what you guys are doing is the opposite. You're showing miracles within families. You're bringing joy and love. And the biggest thing we need in this world right now is hope. That's what people need. That's what people are looking for.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.